Welcome to the DLJonesBooks show. In this episode, we're going to be talking about a little movie that's going to be coming out on April 16th, and that movie is Mortal Kombat, and it'll be released in theaters and on HBOMAX the same day. We will talk about that. I just finished watching the trailer. Am I excited about it? Let's find out right after the intro. All right, like I said, I took time out, from looking at all of the little WandaVision news and the Kong versus Godzilla news and all of that kind of stuff. I took a little time out to watch a trailer that I hadn't watched. I knew it was out and everything, but I hadn't watched in a while, and that's the Mortal Kombat trailer. Before we get back, I want to welcome you back to the channel. I'm your host, DLJones, and on this channel, I talk about all types of story-related topics, movie reviews, books reviews, TV show reviews, video games, story topics, anything that has a story or some kind of media could potentially be a topic on this channel. So, Mortal Kombat. What's my history of Mortal Kombat? Is it a series, a franchise that is something that is actually, something that I keep up with? I mean, we all know Mortal Kombat is based off of the video game from, long time ago, the really graphic, really violent video game. But yeah, everybody know that, and I'm pretty sure everybody's played it. I mean, it was in arcades and everything. I'm sure everybody played it. But as far as movies, the first Mortal Kombat movie that I remember is the first one that came out back in 95. And then there was the second one, Mortal Kombat Annihilation, came out like late 90s, 97 or something like that. Now, the thing about those movies, I never really looked at them as good movies. I didn't necessarily also think of them as being bad movies. They were sort of like those ultra action movies. And, a lot of fight scenes and fight choreography and stuff like that. And to be honest with you, that's actually what I remember the most, and what I remember enjoying the most about those movies back then was the fight scenes. I mean, regardless of what you think of the movie, whether you thought it was good or bad, they did have some pretty good fight scenes in them. They had some pretty good fight choreography. If you were into that kind of stuff, those, you couldn't go wrong with the Mortal Kombat movies, especially the first one. The second one, I remember the first one more so than I do the second one, Annihilation. But yeah, I just remember those being like those type of movies, especially in the 90s. A lot of movies like that with, super action and with a lot of the fight scenes and kung fu and all of that kind of stuff. That was pretty popular back then. That was in the 80s, the 80s, and then pretty much the 90s, as far as mostly of what I remember, was when a lot of those super action movies that I talked about in one of my previous videos about action movies, that's when all of those movies was out. That was when you had the Steven Seagals and the Billy Blanks and the Van Dams and all of those making those kung fu movies like that. And Mortal Kombat was right in that same era, and it still gave you the same things that if you were looking for those type of stuff, if you were looking for those fast choreographed kung fu scenes, stuff like that, fighting with weapons, hand-to-hand combat, stuff like that, you couldn't go wrong with the Mortal Kombat movies. Now, come to the day, I'm looking at this new Mortal Kombat trailer, and this particular trailer looked like the quality level of the movie so far looked like it has been raised up. It looks like they're trying to make a real movie and not like the super action movie from back then. It looks like now they're trying to make a real movie. The story seemed like it's a little bit different from what I remember. Looks like now it is kind of sort of like a fantasy, like an action fantasy movie. Got a lot of fantasy elements, which Mortal Kombat has always had fantasy elements. But now it seems like they're delving down a little deeper than that. I'd had to go back and watch the first Mortal Kombat. It seems like I remember the first Mortal Kombat being similar to a Game of Death style movie where there was like a competition, and there were some characters that had like little, kind of fantasy elements to it, but it seemed like it wanted to be more like grounded in more like a street fighting type, situation. Now, this new one, it stars a new character. I don't know if this character is the starring character or it's just a new character that they're introducing. And this is the character with the birthmark.
It's a birthmark?
What do you mean?
He was born with it.
Now, this character is an MMA fighter, which it looks like, now one of the main differences between now and in the mid-90s is that MMA has become super popular, with like UFC and Bellator and One Fighting, just all of these different organizations now. Most people when it comes to the sports, as far as martial arts as a sport, MMA is the go-to now. You know, it's probably kind of, the popularity is probably kind of rivals, or if it has not already exceeded boxing as far as combat sports. But now the new character in according to this trailer has an MMA fighter, which is pretty cool. They're bringing in a new type of fighting style, you know, I'm curious to see how that would translate on screen. Because I kind of think that MMA style fighting, which includes grappling and hand-to-hand combat and stuff like that, I kind of see that kind of fighting as not being as flashy as far as movies is concerned, you know, because it's kind of hard. How can you make somebody rolling on the ground and putting somebody in a leg lock look cool, you know? I mean, if you know what you're looking at, you might be able to appreciate the skill it takes to do something like that. But just on the screen to watch like some super action, I think it's kind of hard to make that look cool. I mean, movies have been trying to do it, but I'm curious to see how they're going to do it in this movie. But am I looking forward to this movie?
Get over here!
After watching the trailer, I'd say that I kind of am. You know, I got it on my date. I want to see how it's going to be. Of course, I want to see the fight scenes. You know, from the trailer, they got, you know, they kind of show you like all of the different characters that you might remember from the video games, you know, from the past and everything. You know, in the trailer, they show them all pretty much, and they got a couple of them that are new. You know, as I did a little reading on it, I found out there's a couple of characters in the trailer that's never before seen characters that are new characters, you know. But yeah, that's pretty cool, and it seemed like they're taking this more like a fantasy approach. You know, they're embracing the fantasy, they're embracing like magic and stuff like that, which to me I like the idea that they're doing that, you know, with this one. But yeah. Of course, I'm interested. I can't wait, you know, for it to come out on the 16th, and it's going to be out on, I think it's another one of those HBOMAX movies that will be released on HBOMAX and in the theaters at the same time on April 16th, sort of just like, you know, Kong versus Godzilla. And, you know, they announced that they were going to do that with all of their movies. I'm not sure how long, you know, how many movies are going to end up doing it before they, you know, renege on that. But yeah, April 16th, I'm in there. I want to see it. I'm so far removed from the actual series. I haven't played a game in years, and it's been a long time since I've even seen the movies. So, you know, it's going to be almost like a new start for me. It's going to be brand new for me. This is going to be a movie that I'm going to be able to go in and watch without pretty much any baggage, because, you know, I don't remember a whole lot of it. I haven't been a fan, or, well, I'll say an active fan of Mortal Kombat, the game or the movies, in years. So it's gonna almost be like starting over for me. And I'm excited about that. I love action movies. You know, I love watching fight scenes and fight choreography and stuff like that. So I'm looking forward to this. I wanna see how well it's gonna be. I wanna see a good movie. Does a trailer make me think it's gonna be a good movie? I think there's gonna be a lot of action in this movie. It kind of, I don't know if just from looking at the trailer, I don't know if I think it's going to be any better as far as the level of movie as the older ones. But, you know, I think they can't be any worse. And I think that it looks like it's going to be pretty cool as far as the action. But yeah, that's Mortal Kombat. It comes out April 16th, HBO Max, and in the movie theaters. Whichever one you choose to do is available both ways on the same date. And I'll be checking it out. If I like it, I'll probably be back up here talking about it, doing my little review or something like that. So stay tuned for that. Let me know in the comments, do you plan on watching it? What did you think of the trailer? You know, thank you for watching, you know, and come back next time. You know, it'll be another WandaVision video at the end of this week. And thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Congratulations, you made it to the end of the video. While you're here, why don't you check out that video right there? Or maybe that one right there. And while you're at it, go ahead and click that little picture of my image there and subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.